What's going on, guys? Today is going to be a different type of video. I feel like I've been hustling so hard on review content that I don't know, I want to take today and just film like a little workout and talk to you guys as a human, as an athlete, as a lifter, talk about what the goals are right now with my lifting and, you know, talk through training and whatnot, because I feel like I don't share a little bit of this side of my life on the channel, and it's something I want to get into a little bit more. So today we have an upper body workout with some vertical pressing, horizontal pressing, rowing, and then an EMOM at the end. So last week we hit, I think 95, 105, and then 115 for 2 sets of 8. So basically today is 12, 10, 8, 8 with 2 to 3 reps in reserve. So every set is designed to just be a nice accumulation, but not too crazy intense. The next following week, we're getting a little heavier. My overhead press needs so much work, so that's why we're doing a lot of accumulation with these sets. Fuck, man. Anything over 8 reps should be punishable by death. Tyler, my coach, knows I hate these sets and these rep schemes, so he's been programming a lot of accumulation. The overhead press is such a funny exercise because I feel like unlike squats and deads where, you know, you can grind them out when they get tough and maintain some good form, man, with the bench and overhead press, when I hit my wall, I hit my wall. Like, watching back these videos, I think it's funny how they feel really hard during the set, even though it's not heavy weight, but how the video shows, it looks like the form is great, it looks like my speed's great, but man, with the overhead press, it's like one rep feels fine, next rep, boom, kick in the dick, you're done. First set of 8, got 120 on the bar. Oh boy, that next set of 8 is gonna be rough. Overhead press too has always been tough for me because I ruptured both AC joints during college cheer, and so I told Tyler, I was like, dude, I really want to get stronger overhead for both just general pressing and jerk strength. So he's just beating me down with volume. We have 2 overhead press days a week right now, and this is our higher accumulation day. And then in between the overhead press sets, we've been supersetting these high anchor rear delt flies, and these have been sick because they get me moving through a different range of motion, but we're just trying to build my shoulders as a whole. So just moving through different ranges of motion that I'm not used to programming on my own, and honestly, working with a coach that's keeping me accountable with this type of work, because for me personally, y'all, like, even though I coach and I've been training since I was 13, I'm like, what, 31 now? This type of work is still not my favorite. So I notice when I program for myself, I don't typically push my upper body days as hard as I should or give them as much volume as I need to really grow. So working with a coach has been so awesome for the accountability aspect, and doing movements like this that I wouldn't necessarily program for myself. And so if you're in a similar situation where you do notice you got a bias as well, like we all do, having a coach at least for a few months to kind of help you build that self-accountability can be a really awesome tool. And even if you're a coach, coaches need coaches. And so I cannot stress enough how useful it can be working with somebody to help keep you honest. All right, final set. Today's a large cold brew guide today. It is Sunday in the afternoon. Fun fact, I'm not really a big football guy. Like, I've never been into the NFL stuff, so a lot of my friends are out watching the game, but to be quite honest, it's not really my thing. I like college football a little bit more. So we're here at the gym training and filming and getting some content done because it's gonna be a crazy week. We're heading to Austin on Wednesday for a month. This is like the last leg of this whole Nomad journey. Honestly, this set feels pretty good. Let's do one more rep for good measure. Let's go. Honestly, last set, best set, let's freaking go. And to add a little bit of context there on the Austin comment, because if you don't follow me on Instagram and whatnot, you really have no idea what I'm even talking about. But long story short, when July rolled around this year, I've basically been on the road entirely doing like a full Nomad stint of life. So scrapped my lease here in Denver and have just been kind of traveling around while working full time. And what I've realized is, like, for so long, I longed for the freedom of this lifestyle. I think it gets positioned as like this really cool thing, and I wanted to do it and experiment with it. But I think in late August through September and then early October, I kind of had like this mental implosion of panic attacks pretty regularly, freakouts, because I didn't feel stable. I didn't feel kind of on the path or connected with where I wanted to take my life. I think for so long I thought I was like, oh, I'm this loner, I'm this lone wolf, I don't need anybody. But I've learned, like, I really do like community. I might not like community to the extent of some, but like on the spectrum, like I think I am in this middle ground of like, I like some stability, with community, with my friends, being around familiar faces, and being fully alone has helped me kind of realize, okay, nomad life's been cool, but I do need a home base to travel from. So I'm in this place right now where I feel better because I've been in Denver again for all of October in Airbnb, but now I'm going to Austin to see, okay, do I like Austin? Do I want to live there for the next 6 months to a year? Or do I want to come back to Denver and sign a lease now? But long story short, I guess what I'm trying to get across is like the nomad life's been really interesting, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows like Instagram and social media want you to believe. And I've been trying to convey that and be a little bit more real with my take on it, but it's been a really good learning lesson. And I've never had panic attacks until the last few months, and they're not a fun thing. And it took me a lot of unpacking and kind of like soul searching to realize where they were coming from, why they were happening, and really addressing some of these harder points and questions that I've had about myself, who I am. And it's interesting, like being 31 and hitting this now versus being younger. So I don't know, it's been a really interesting few months, folks, and I wanted to share that with y'all because you don't really get that part of my life if you're just watching shoe reviews. All right, so our next 2 exercises are rotational row paired with an alternating dumbbell press. And the reason we're doing these is to work a little bit more on thoracic rotation, which is something I do struggle with. I could definitely use more thoracic mobility. So doing these rowing patterns where I get to horizontally row and get a little rotation, and then with the alternated dumbbell press, they've been great for getting in that rotational work while still chasing the strength and hypertrophy goals. Also, the pup you see wandering around, that's Maui. He's my little mini Aussie. He is 5 and honestly, the best thing in my world. He is the legend. But man, rotational rows, rotational presses, I forgot how awesome they were until we programmed them. But just the amount of control you need to perform these and how you need less weight, I feel like, in many ways to get a nice stimulus. It's one of these awesome exercises that I typically program for clients, but rarely program for myself. So it's been really nice getting the exposure to them. Also, some food for thought for y'all. When you're programming things like rotational rows, something to keep in mind is this arm that's bracing can be really useful for helping with that rotation. So when you're rowing, don't be afraid to push into that bench as you row, because that will help facilitate some of that thoracic rotation you're after. I think a lot of times we brace and we don't really do anything with that opposing arm, but there's a lot of benefit in keeping this arm active and using it to help facilitate that rotation, to help work on some of that mobility that you might be after, because that push will help feed right into that row. Nice little antagonistic relationship there. I think another benefit of alternating dumbbell press is it's also an awesome exercise to feel out different hand positions. So do you want to go more neutral? Do you want to go with more of a traditional pressing position, or do you want to go somewhere in between? I generally like the somewhere in between. It allows me to keep the elbow position that I'm after to help get the pec fibers that I want to train. So a lot of those meaty sternal pec fibers here through the horizontal pressing pattern, and it just feels most comfortable for my shoulders. And so the big thing here is don't be afraid to play with your different positions of the hands, because I think a lot of times we box ourselves in to only performing movements like this one singular way, and that's so far from the truth when it comes to what's going to be efficient for you, especially when you consider limb lengths, your strengths, your training history, injuries, and basically what allows you to feel strongest to get the best stimulus for your needs. Also, you might be wondering, why am I barefoot right now? And it's because there's a lot of context here to consider. Number one, I'm training alone, so nobody's in the gym with me. So it's not as awkward to be barefoot. And also, with all the shoes I've been rotating, I just love training barefoot when I can to get them out of the shoes and just expose my feet and ankles to different stimuli, even though I do traditionally wear barefoot or training shoes for most of my sessions, and obviously weightlifting shoes for squat and clean days. But we do have a circuit in EMOM after this, and for that, I'm gonna put on my Haze trainers because I am not trying to beat my feet up when I'm rushing around pushing that one. All right, so we have a 16-minute EMOM with 20 ball slams, 20-second each side mixed carry with kettlebells, 40 seconds of the assault bike, 40-second tall hip to kneeling halo. And for this one, I will not be talking through it. I'm gonna be pushing and dying, which you guys will see, but I will see you afterwards. I'm hurting after that EMOM. A couple thoughts. One, I think I went a little bit too heavy on the mixed carry. I went with the green bells, so those are like 53-ish pounds, I believe, and I found it to be a little bit too much towards the end. I was leaning in ways that weren't favorable for what we were trying to do, so good note for next time, scale that weight back. I also went a little bit heavy on the halos. I should have probably went with like the 26-pound bell versus the 35, the yellow, just to really work on the quality of movement pattern versus trying to just do more weight. I noticed towards the end I was, not that this is necessarily a bad thing, but moving in ways that I don't think were the intention of the halo in the context of this EMOM. But it's a good day to push. I love days like this where the intensity is like middle of the road for the hypertrophy work and just the general strength work, and then at the end being able to send it with EMOMs, circuits, stuff like that. These are sessions that are really fun too because it allows me to get a different feel for different types of shoes. So for example, like generally I'd wear like a barefoot shoe for my strength stuff. There are more people here, and then transition either into that barefoot shoe that I'm wearing or the cross training shoe, and it gives me two different styles of training and two different shoes to give me different contexts. Maui, are you good, bro? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's a little bit different, but I don't know. I want to talk about some training thoughts and just share what's going on in my life. If there's any interest for videos like this in the future, let me know in the comments below. I always get in my head about sharing stuff like this because I'm like, who the fuck really cares like what I'm doing? But I do think it's important as somebody who creates content consistently to connect with you guys who are watching and just to give you an idea of my personality. So when you watch a review, for example, you kind of know what I'm about outside of just the lens of the review. But all that said, guys, I need to go take my creatine, protein, and get a banana or two in me or something like that. Dude, this is all the time. God, I love him so much. Yeah, all that said, if you guys have any thoughts and feedback on this video, let me know. And if you want to see more videos like this, also let me know. But hope you guys have a great week, whenever this video goes live. Hope everything is well in your life. See you guys in the next one. See ya.